Thank you so much for that intro. Congrats to everyone who shared they just found a job. That's amazing news. My name is Ben Wise. I'm one of the founders of Captivate. I've got a sales pitch for you. Just kidding. We are all about taking the academic research on psychology, behavioral science, out of the world of academia and trying to make it simple for you to use and simple for you to understand in the everyday business world. So with that, let's jump in. I want to start with a simple question. Think back to the last big decision that you made. Maybe it was a purchase, maybe it was a job opportunity. Should you swipe right or should you swipe left? And ask yourself, why did you make that choice? I'm willing to bet we have a room full of very functional answers. But go back to that decision and ask yourself, of that choice, how much do you think was made for those rational reasons? And how much do you think you made for emotional reasons? Just shout out, what percentage do you think was emotional? I heard 8, I heard 90, 80, 95. Okay, a lot of high numbers. This is something academics have put a lot of effort into studying, and you're right. Upwards of 90% of any decision comes down to the irrational or emotional factors. 90%. The only thing higher than that is my brother on a Friday night. Cheap shots there. Now, this has massive implications for the way that we communicate, the way that we persuade, the way that we sell. The reality is, I think most of us are probably doing it wrong. And I'm no exception. I think back, I've been in sales for about 15 years, and when I started, man, I sucked. I used a very, very classic sales technique. The academics have a fancy term for it. You probably know it. It's called death by PowerPoint. You know what I'm talking about? I hear the laughter. That you got 50 slides. You've got reams and reams of data. You've got font so tiny you can barely see it on the slide. And after 45 minutes, your customer or your potential customer is tired. They're confused. They're overwhelmed. The last thing they're about to do is sign on the dotted line. Because that's not how people make decisions. So as a foundation for sales, we need to start with, how do people actually make a choice? To do that, I like to use this analogy, the elephant and the rider. This is based on work by Jonathan Haidt. And just as a quick sense check, anybody in the room ever ridden an elephant? There's usually a couple in every room that have done it. Yep. Oh, a bunch of hands. TechTO gets some wild folks there. Keep your hands up. When you were on that elephant, did any of you feel like you were in control? No, not even a little bit. You're holding on to the reins for dear life, thinking it makes a difference. Those reins are so you don't fall off. They do not have any impact on steering. In this analogy, the rider is the rational side of your brain. It deliberates, it considers facts and data. The elephant is the emotional side. It's the irrational side. It makes quick decisions on instinct and intuition. And in this relationship, who do you think holds the power? That's right, it's the elephant. We just said upwards of 90%. Think back to your last meeting, your last proposal, your last pitch. How much of your time did you spend appealing to the rational rider? And how much time did you spend appealing to the emotional elephant? I'm willing to bet your answer is somewhere less than 90%. So let's look at a few ways how this comes to life. How much would you pay for a pair of dirty old shoes? Anybody except for her want to make a guess? Or shout out, how much would you pay for that? I'm offering you dirty shoes. Tempting, I know. We'll assume they're your size. $5, maybe $10? Maybe I would have to pay you to take them off your hands? So, someone over here knows, how about $700? Yeah, this is from a company called Golden Goose. The lady over here knows it. Must be super rich. All you salespeople, you probably want to target her later. And what's wild is you can get basically the same thing at Walmart for, what is it, $14.97. Brand new. That got 4.4 stars. That's not too bad. So what is this? We have $685 of magical dirt spread on this shoe. You think they've got some special analyst with a PhD out in the desert finding all the right grains of sand just to maximize your profit? Let me spoil it. It doesn't make any sense. It's not supposed to make sense because that's not how we operate. And yet, for most of us as salespeople, I know that most of us are in B2B, we think we're talking to this theoretical, rational being on the other side of the table. We think they sound like this. I'll only buy it if it satisfies my 3 functioning criteria, provided it is in my budget and arrives within my timeline. Nobody makes decisions like that. If you hear a customer saying that, let me spoil it for you. They are not buying because they do not care. When we want something, when we desire something, our thought process can be as simple as this. TikTok made me buy it. This hashtag has over 60 billion views and is responsible for hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in sales. I want everyone to take a second and think about something that you really want, that you truly desire. Maybe it's a new job, a vacation, romance. Maybe it's just a click-through rate above 2%. Now really picture how you feel when you finally get that thing. Really take a moment to imagine that. That feeling, I bet you can feel it in your gut right now. That emotion is what drives our decisions and our behavior. And we're not just talking about sneakers. This is true in every product category, B2C, B2B, because that is how humans work. There is an analyst somewhere out there trying to make a very pretty-looking PowerPoint deck of all the rational differentiators for your product, when customers are out there in the real world spending $1,000 on shoes that are covered in dirt because it's got good vibes to them. Anybody here, salespeople, anyone you want to go into your CRO's office and say, I've got a plan for next year. Let's take our product and just sprinkle some dirt on it, guys. That's going to drive sales. It's a career-limiting move right there. Now, I know this sounds daunting, how irrational we are. But there is good news. While humans are very irrational, we are predictably irrational. And as I spend a shocking amount of my spare time reading all this academic research on the topic, we find that most of these irrational behaviors fall into 3 themes or buckets that I call the 3 basic human truths. Number 1, people are lazy and they hate change. See a lot of heads nodding. Did you know when Netflix rolled out autoplay, removing the extreme effort required to click a button, it resulted in people watching an extra 5 entire days of television a year because they were too lazy to click the stop button. We are 5 days a year worth of laziness just on Netflix. Number 2, perceptions can and do change constantly. We like to think that how we perceive the world is objective. I could stub my toe and that's going to change what I think about my next meeting. Anybody ever gone grocery shopping when you're hungry? That is very dangerous behavior based on your perceptions. You think you're just going down to the corner store for some milk. Next thing you know, I'm in a lineup at Costco, pushing a cart full of $1,000 of stuff in line for some free sample of cheese that I don't even know how to pronounce it. Perceptions change on a whim. And last, and most important, people connect with people. Especially in B2B. I always hear, oh, but I'm selling to a corporation. They're going to make rational decisions. That corporation is staffed by humans. The person on the other side of the table from you is not a robot, is not a corporation. They are also a human. And they will buy from you as a human. Now, I know this is a little bit theoretical, but I want to leave everybody with something clear and tangible as a takeaway. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to 2 things. The first is access to our monthly newsletter where we go through a very specific principle based on academic research. I'll stand out of the way. Including specific examples of how you can put it into use in sales. And second will be what we call our pre-meeting checklist. This is a 1-slide PDF where we've gone through almost 3 years of the newsletter. We have taken our absolute favorite, our most effective 5 or 6 principles and tactics. We've put them into one sheet for you. Literally all it takes is 5 minutes before your next meeting. It will prompt you with a few ideas of how you can just slightly change your approach to have massive impact. So, no matter what you're selling, no matter who you are talking to, their frameworks, their tactics, all of those things are great. But I want you to always come back to those 3 principles. People are lazy and hate change. Perceptions can and do change constantly, and people connect with people. If you take that as your foundation, I guarantee you will be more successful. Thank you very much.
Questions? Yeah.
We got a hesitant hand here.
Hi, Ben. Ray, thanks for your very emotional and great presentation. I got one question. How do you usually detect if someone's defensive mechanisms when they have first impression with someone to know they may hate or they may like?
Good question. So it's first impressions are extremely important. That's, I'm not telling anybody here anything they don't know. There are a lot of very interesting ways based on the research of how you can quickly build that rapport. The way that you listen, the way that you physically show up. If you go into that, into the one-sheeter that I mentioned, if you download that, there's something called strategic mimicry. This is all about how you can send subtle cues to show a level of similarity, because let's be honest, we're all narcissists. We like people who are just like us. And if you can show a little bit of that in a subtle way, then it will help you make a better first impression and help build a little bit more rapport and trust right from the get-go.
Okay, I think last one right here.
Is this about the expensive shoes?
No, I didn't buy those shoes.
Okay.
I want to know, I don't know how to work. It's on. Oh, okay. So I just don't really understand what your company is. Like, so what, like you didn't really say that?
Nope, not trying to sell. So
yeah, that's it.
Good question. So Captivate, essentially we are a newsletter and we speak at events like this. It is not my full-time job. I have a full-time job in sales that I mentioned. But yeah, we have, my partner and I, who wasn't able to be here tonight, has spent years in sales, and we just both find the psychology behind it all fascinating and wanted to share it and have managed to find our way onto great communities and great stages like this. Check it out, sign up for the newsletter. Yes, I've done lots of, we've done a lot with students, mostly post-secondary, but grab me afterwards and yeah, happy to.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Ben.